Hello, everybody. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. Once again, back with you with another video. And this video is concerning Roy Jones Jr. and Tank. So I want to talk about those two guys. Of course, we already had discussions about Teofimo Lopez, and we also had discussions about Lomachenko. I just want to add to the Teofimo Lopez Lomachenko's issue. Lomachenko ain't really got nobody else out there to face anyway. If you think about it. If he tries to face Devin Haney, the obstacle in that is he's got to deal with a guy that works with Matchroom and really actually is showcased on the zone. If he tries to work with Ryan Garcia, he's the EJ Boxing Live in the building. I'm so sorry I can't really stream with you. If you got something where we can stream together, I'll hop on that. But his issue will be, who's he gonna really face? Lomachenko. If he can't unify, who's he gonna face? Right? The best deal is with Top Rank. Teofimo Lopez is a top ranked fighter. He's featured on ESPN, and he's at lightweight, and he's the ticket to unification. So Teofimo, I think, is making a very good move by saying that price is not good for me. Okay? Because who they're going to negotiate with otherwise? You know what I'm saying? The only other person he have to negotiate with is his mandatory. Well, he's not mandatory anymore. It's Devin Haney, who's the WBC champion. So Lomachenko's in a rock and a hard place. Ryan Garcia have nothing to do with it. Ryan Garcia is going to fight for the WBC interim against Luke Campbell. So really, Lomachenko ain't got much options. You know, Teofimo got options on the other hand. Teofimo, he could go ahead and face somebody else and defend his title. He's young. He got many years ahead of him. So if he wants to, he could just. Now, Bobby Aaron offered both guys tune-up fights. Teofimo was like, I don't want no tune-up fight. I mean, Teofimo Lopez has options. Lomachenko, okay, he may have an option. He could go ahead and defend one of his titles. But at the end of the day, that defense might have to be against Devin Haney. The other guy, there ain't nobody else. And most of the guys he has to defend against, they're not top ranked fighters. So the best deal is with Top Rank and ESPN. All right, Shakur Stevenson, he's at super featherweight, and Shakur ain't gonna just come all the way up. Well, he might, but it's too early in Shakur's career for that, I think. But it's still another young one that has sparred him and so on. So there's no way that Lomachenko could come out of this situation. He cannot wiggle his way out of the situation. Everywhere he's going to look now, a young, hungry, skilled. Let me explain to you guys what I mean by skill. So he fought, I guess his best fighter that he fought was Jorge Linares and the Puerto Rican kid, the kid from Puerto Rico, and then Luke Campbell, right? Those are the toughest opponents he's faced, right? In his weight class. Guillermo Rigondeaux wasn't as tough because he came up 2 weight classes to face Lomachenko. Everything was in favor of Lomachenko every step of the way. Now he's going to have to face guys who could actually box. The guy who, I forgot what the name of the guy is. He can box. He got stopped by Miguel Barachev, okay? I forgot what his name is. Sosa. Sosa, he's not really he's not nowhere on the level of those guys, okay? But when you look at Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, right, who Lomachenko avoided, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Tank Davis. You know why Lomachenko won the Davis fight? Because Davis bring money. He knows that. He don't mind getting knocked the fuck out for a paycheck like that. Okay? And Lomachenko is worried that he will get knocked the fuck out by Teofimo Lopez. I'm telling you. I know it sounds crazy, but all the people touting Lomachenko as this pound for pound fighter, he's so skilled. What happens if he gets knocked the clean fuck out by Teofimo Lopez? Teofimo Lopez goes in there, maybe goes 4 or 5 rounds, and Lomachenko gets knocked the spark out. What are they going to do now? This was a pound for pound number 2 in blood. All of a sudden, that's gone. All right? I'm not saying Teofimo Lopez will do that to Lomachenko, even though very likely it could happen. It could very likely happen. I know why I'm saying that. But I'm not saying he will go and guarantee, but that's the risk. So that's what Teofimo Lopez does. He gets in there, sets the guys up, knocks them down, right? That's what he did with Richard Comey. He gets you hurt, he's going to jump on him. And Luke Campbell has caught Lomachenko red-handed with his left hand, his power hand. Luke Campbell's a much better boxer than that he's faced. He's much one of the better boxers that he faced. So, just saying that because, Lomachenko is highly touted. But these young bloods don't give a fuck about that. They don't care. Because they think they're the next. And none of them are afraid to face Lomachenko. So anyway, I'm saying this because this is byway. This is not the main subject at hand. I'm saying that risk versus reward. That leads me to Roy Jones Jr. Now, Roy Jones Jr. been saying this for the longest while, risk versus reward. And he was talking about how he actually wanted to face Evander Holyfield. That was the guy initially he wanted to face when he went up to heavyweight. And he asked Evander Holyfield, and Evander Holyfield turned him down. And he explained why Evander Holyfield turned him down, why that case makes sense. He said, Roy Jones Jr. would have had everything to gain and not one damn thing to lose. If I lost, I just go back down to light heavyweight. Holyfield, on the other hand, had everything to lose and nothing to gain. If he beat me, well, I was a smaller guy. He was supposed to beat me. If I beat him, now I look great. And he lost his championship. He's lost everything, right? And the smaller guy beating the bigger guy, his reputation, everything will be kind of on the line now. It just so happened John Ruiz, he beat Evander Holyfield. Okay? And John Ruiz was open to facing Roy Jones Jr. And that's how Roy Jones Jr. faced John Ruiz, the first Latino heavyweight champion of the world. Now, here's the thing about it. I like to talk about these points. Roy Jones Jr., and there's a reason why I dedicate this particular segment to Roy and to Tank. Roy Jones Jr. has never been fully appreciated, and I'm going to tell you guys why. As phenomenal as he was, the HBO commentary team, particularly Larry Merchant, never gave this guy the credit he deserved. Never once. And they used it under the, and I'm going to go in on Larry Merchant for a long, long time because he fucked up boxing. And I don't care what nobody else says. I don't care if he's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He fucked up boxing. Right? He used to give poems, play on words, and all of that's well and good. And he understood the game very well. But the way how he tore down certain fighters, I blame him for the reputation that those fighters have to this day. All right? Because instead of celebrating those fighters, a lot of people hate on these fighters and talk about, oh, Roy, yeah, he was yesterday's news. Okay? So I'm going to go into detail once again. I've done this before, but I'm going to go into detail once again about Roy Jones Jr. All right? Because there are a lot of things that Roy says that have been true about boxing from the beginning. Risk versus reward has always been there. Always. All right? And I was listening to Roy speak on the Breakfast Club, and you guys can leave your comments in this is live, so you guys can leave your comments in the chat section. You guys can come through, talk, but I'm gonna leave this for posterity because Roy was something else. Roy said something about risk versus reward, which is true. It has been that way since way back when. Okay. So I'm going to explain risk versus reward to you guys. Then I'm going to go into another aspect that Roy was speaking about. But on the Breakfast Club, they were talking about how, they must have forgot about Roy Jones Jr. And I have been on record saying that in his prime, Roy Jones Jr., okay, Floyd didn't bring that kind of game. He didn't have that kind of game. Roy brought rap to the boxing game, and he rapped. Roy brought a whole different level of pizzazz and style to boxing. And Roy brought a whole other level of athleticism. Roy was a specimen of an athlete. He brought athletics, real athletics to boxing. He brought training from many different areas, not just the areas that you were used to seeing boxers training. And Roy brought X Factor, highly entertaining in that ring. And then he brought something that we never ever in the history. When Roy came on the scene, a lot of things that you see boxers doing today, Roy was the first to do it. I'm not talking about the triple head left hooks and stuff. That's something from the past. He also did 4 left hooks in a row. Okay, that's not what made Roy so special. It was Roy's timing. It was his rhythm. It was the way how he moved in that ring. We had never ever seen any boxer in the history of boxing. You can go all the way back to the beginning, all the way to this time. Nobody moved like Roy. No one. Okay? And he was accurate and you couldn't touch him. Okay? We've never seen nothing like that. And there's this misconception about Roy that it was all athleticism and he didn't have the fundamentals. He always had the fundamentals. Okay? You don't get to the Olympics and then you just go look at him in the Olympics. Look at him fighting in the Olympics. You'll see. He used the jab. He had the fundamentals now. He wasn't the great inside fighter. He could in-fight, but he wasn't a great inside fighter. But Roy would sharpshoot you from outside. He would pot shot you from the outside. He would assess you from the outside. Okay? You slip up, you make one mistake with Roy, and he's going to capitalize on that mistake. Right? You half a second too slow, he going to get you. Okay? That was Roy. And it wasn't just from a boxing angle. It wasn't just the normal traditional boxing angles. He catch you off the break. He catch you by taunting you. He'd be taunting you. And if you decide to buy into that mental game, he'd catch you with that real quick. All right. And it wasn't so much the power of his punches as it was the timing of his punches and the placement of his punches, how he would bring up punches from way down below the ground. He would feint the boxer one way, have the boxer snapping back or something, and a leaping left hook from the ground. He'd loop his punches like a bowler punch, kind of like Sugar Ray Robinson. But it was the timing of it. Sugar Ray Robinson didn't have that kind of timing, that kind of movement. And that's the thing that inspired a young Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd did it in his own way, but it was the same kind of ambush style when you least expect it. Manny Pacquiao, something like that, but he don't have that lightning fast reflexes. He don't have that. When we talk about quick, that's what we're talking about, reaction time. How quickly you could react to something, you know? And that's what Mayweather, Zab Judah, Roy Jones Jr. got. They got uncanny reaction time. Even now, the old Roy Jones Jr. still got it when it comes to reaction time, but he can't maintain it for very long. Now he still has it. And I watch his movement. I watch how he moves. Roy is a tall guy, 5'10". He's my height. And he steps with really small steps, but really, really quickly. That's uncanny for a tall guy, first of all. But what is he doing? Well, and that's why I said Mike Tyson gonna have a lot of problems with Roy. He's tricky. His movements are tricky. Roy is a guy. Roy don't have to move that much to throw you off. You see, the thing about, try to explain this. I don't know how to explain it, but when you have really, really quick reaction time, of course, the reaction time slow down significantly, but that's a God-gifted thing. Roy chose to use that reaction time in different sort of ways. There are times when Roy doesn't need to use it because the opponent doesn't even expect him to do what he's doing. He can vary his speed, etc. So he doesn't need the reaction time. Like right now, Roy at this age, he don't need no lightning fast reaction time anymore. It looks good, you know. He doesn't need it. It's how he misdirects his opponent. He'll misdirect you one way, and then he will take you with another. He'll take you somewhere else. So the Roy was always about illusion, special effects, we call it, especially on the offensive end. Not so much on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. And so he'll feint you one way and come with another shot. Like he'll feint you as if you're going to throw the jab, and he's stepping in, and instead, what does he do? Throws right hand. Right? And so Roy was talking about how he dominated the whole entire era. As I said before to you guys, from 1996 to 2003, Roy was the dude, 7 years. Now, Roy said it was 10 years. So probably he was going all the way back from 1993 probably, or 1994 to 2004, 2007. Shout out to Tommy Temper, man, coming through the building. What's up, champ? So, you know, Roy dominated. EJ probably not in the building right now, but he just kind of came through and left probably. Yeah. Tommy Temper shooting EJ. Yeah. Roy, you know, held it down. He held down pound for pound for a good period of time. You know, and he was talking about that guys like him who held down boxing for a good period of time, because after Sugar Ray Leonard left the game, it was Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson took up the mantle. Then after Mike Tyson was starting to fade out, Roy took up the mantle. And then after Roy started fading out, Pernell took up the mantle. Or was it, I believe Pernell and Chavez Jr. kind of interspaced with Roy, right? And Oscar and Mosley. But after Roy left, it was Floyd. And what Roy was saying is, no matter what any of these people say, the detractors, the haters, whatever, we were, the guys that he just mentioned, we were the top guys in those eras. We were the top guys of that time, right? And so it doesn't matter what they say because it's for record. It's on record that we were the top guys. We were the ones holding down boxing. We were the face of boxing. He's so right. And people forgot who Roy Jones Jr. is, and there's a whole new generation, a lot of people who never seen him fight. And Roy would say, go look at the clips, because boxing's an entertaining sport, okay? And he's a hell of a lot more entertaining than Floyd is, period. One guy was debating with me, when you look at Roy's greatest win against James Toney or Bernard Hopkins, Floyd got anybody like that. And I said to him, no, Floyd didn't face no James Toney. Floyd didn't face no Bernard Hopkins, right? This is true. We're not even going to go into denial about that. But the one thing we got to understand is Roy didn't face no Zab Judah, right? Roy didn't have a guy who was a mirror image of himself. So we could go back and forth about, who faced who faced what. But at the end of the day, what cannot be denied, and these are facts, is that Roy Jones Jr. held down an era of boxing, entertained people, brought excitement, and dominated his competition. I mean, he dominated his competition. Such that some people actually believe what Larry Merchant was saying when he said Roy didn't face nobody. Just like I hear people saying Floyd didn't face nobody. Because Roy didn't have no drag out war. Roy didn't have no drag out war. Guys would face Roy and it wasn't even competitive. I remember when Bernard Hopkins tried to face Roy. He wasn't even competitive. I remember when James Toney faced Roy. He was competitive for a couple rounds, and then Floyd just caught him with the thing, dropped. He stumbled all across the ring to the ropes, and that was all she wrote. Roy dominated after that. All right. But of course, Roy faced people. He faced more world champions than Floyd, than Harry Greb, than most boxers in boxing. He didn't beat more. He beat 19 world champions. Yeah, Roy beat 19 world champions. Okay? So y'all must have forgotten. Y'all must be tripping if y'all think that Roy is some kind of joke. Okay? And I always say it, and I'm going to say it again. If they did not DQ Roy and take it from him for his fight against the Chicago kid, who was a good boxer, don't get me wrong, but he was not in the class of Roy, okay? And Roy showed it in the second fight by destroying him, okay? He had knocked down the guy. He hit him while he was on the ground. They DQ'd him for it. I'm going to say this. Roy was going to be undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. He was going to be undefeated. And a lot of people would have been saying, oh, Roy's untouchable. Just like what they say about Floyd. Oh, he unbeatable. They have been saying that. And I believe it to this day. We would not have known the flaws of Roy. Okay? Not saying he was an all-around complete boxer like Floyd, but he brought something else to the table. Him and Pernell Whitaker. We've never seen boxers like them ever. Pernell Whitaker and Roy Jones Jr., we've never seen a boxer like them. Never. Ever. And we probably never ever will. All they like to say, oh, well, Mayweather and Tevin Farmer, they're like Pernell Whitaker. Listen, there are no more Pernell Whitakers. Okay? There are no more Pernell Whitakers. Now, like I said before, and Roy just keeps on endorsing things I've said before. People say, Roy ruined his career, and so I said, no, he didn't ruin shit. I'm going to tell you why. It's in record what Roy did in his career. Him fighting on and losing doesn't erase the record of what he done in his career. We found out some flaws about Roy, okay? And fighters exploited that, okay? And yeah, Roy lost a step. Yes, his athleticism did carry him in his prime and a little bit later on in his career. But Roy was on record in the Breakfast Club explaining why he was more beatable than before. And it had to do with something mental. Remember, boxing is 90% mental, 10% physical. I heard one guy say 80% mental, 20% physical. But I believe it's 90% mental, 10% physical. Roy had no goals. Roy said after he had won the heavyweight championship and then went back down and defended the title, right? Which is something that one of the boxers in history did, a light heavyweight champion. about 100 years ago. He had no more goals. He had nothing to drive him. Makes sense. When you've done it all, he finally focused in on a goal. He said he was going to go try and get his 5th world title at cruiserweight. He didn't accomplish it. Guys, he didn't accomplish it, but he tried. Okay. A lot of people don't understand how mental boxing is. I was watching an interview with a fellow countryman, Leslie Tiger Stewart, who's still alive to this day, and I probably could go get an interview with him. I probably would do that. And he was talking about how when he became world champion, he wasn't ready for it. He was on the top of the world, cloud 9, and his discipline, his focus was lost. And he didn't have a team of people around him to help him refocus himself and then handle other aspects of the business for him so he could focus directly on boxing. And he lost to Virgil Hill, Hall of Fame legend. And he thought if he was better prepared, he probably would have beaten Virgil Hill. But he wasn't. He had lost his discipline, he had lost his focus for those kinds of fights, and then he didn't have people around him to really help him. His manager cut a really stupid deal where he didn't even have a rematch clause for that fight. The manager didn't know business very well and gave him a fucking stupid deal. And I thought about all of this. And he even mentioned, which is amazing, he even mentioned Floyd Mayweather, how he had a good team around him, a good set of people around him, so he could just focus on boxing. And he never let the boxing get to his head. He was always focused on the fight at hand. No matter what was going on in his personal life, he was focused on what he needed to do. And he stayed dedicated to the sport of boxing. And what's amazing about the guy I'm talking about, whose name is Leslie Tiger Stewart, was that he became world champion within the space of 7 years, I think it was. He had no solid amateur experience. He had five pro country here, Trinidad, and he went to Florida and started fighting there. That's talent, the ability to learn skills. He didn't even perfect his skills. And he beat Marvin Johnson, who had been boxing all his life. He stopped him. Okay? He had a first fight with him, he lost. And he rematched Marvin Johnson, and he stopped him. And it just all goes to show you can have unbelievable ability. You could even be God-gifted, like Zab Judah's God-gifted. You could be the most entertaining guy in the world, Adrian Broner, most entertaining guy in the world, gifted, skilled. I don't care what nobody says. Adrian Broner is skilled. He can box. Great footwork, great everything. I mean, he's great at what he does. He's not just good, he's great. But mentally up here, you're not in the game. See, and that's where Floyd wins. He kept his head in the game, and he had the right people around him to keep his head in the game. He could just focus on the game. Because Floyd learned from Roy's mistakes. He learned from Purnell's mistakes. And the young cats today, they learn from Floyd. They learn from Sugar Ray Robinson. They learn from all these great, great fighters. I try to explain to people, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Why Floyd succeeded with his career is because he was smart about it. And that's why I think Teofimo Lopez not accepting that offer is a very smart thing that young man did. He's beyond his years, because everybody else bowed down and kissed Lomachenko's ass and Top Rank and ESPN and said, yeah, I will take the paycheck. The first conscious dude, because he'd been there, he's seen Floyd do it. He'd seen Oscar do it. He'd seen other young bloods in the business, from the Charlo brothers to Ryan Garcia, to Devin Haney. These boys, these people dictate their lives. They manage their lives. Sean Porter. How can we forget Sean Porter? He's managed by his father. Al Heyman, his father, but he's managed by his father. He ain't with no promotional company. You hear me out? Kenny Porter. Kenny Porter is a visionary. A visionary. This man, only people don't respect certain people in the business. Even Angel Garcia, who doesn't do much. He don't manage nothing. You know, Danny don't manage nothing. Made a good choice by being with Al Heyman. But you got to give Kenny Porter his props. This man's a trainer manager, and he's steering his son in the right direction. It was time when Sean Porter couldn't get no fights. Y'all must have forgot. He was the boogeyman. Nobody wanted to face Sean Porter. That quickly changed. Then Errol Spence became the boogeyman. First of all, Keith Thurman was the boogeyman. Ain't nobody want to give Keith Thurman fights. Then it became Sean Porter was the boogeyman. Ain't nobody want to face Sean Porter. Then it became Errol Spence was the boogeyman. Ain't nobody want to face Errol Spence. Y'all must have forgot, man. And now it's Terrence Crawford's the boogeyman. Ain't nobody want to make fights with Terrence Crawford. He across the pond, but it could still be done. It could still be done. But we all know what really wants to come to a head is Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. We all know this. We're hearing Pacquiao talks of Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford, but we don't think it's going to crystallize. I don't think Manny Pacquiao going to face Terrence Crawford. Now I'm hearing Manny Pacquiao versus Conor McGregor. See, we hear rumors. We don't know what it really is. It's just something to keep your mind occupied, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia when it's all said and done. But here's the thing. Ain't nobody really just hyper interested in facing Terrence Crawford and getting in the ring with him. Nobody. It's the truth. It's the truth. Right? Ain't nobody really hot up and happy. They got their options in the corner and they cool with that. They are. And that's something. Ain't that something? But that's how it is. Gary Russell Jr. Let's be real about Gary Russell Jr. Ain't nobody want to face Gary Russell Jr. Leo Santa Cruz had the opportunity. Gary Russell Jr. can't roll up on Leo Santa Cruz's father trying to make a fight with Leo Santa Cruz. What did Leo Santa Cruz do? He left featherweight, went up to super featherweight, and he got himself a fight that he wants with Tank. Because he feels he's got a chance of beating Tank. Which leads me to Tank. Mayweather's training Tank. You know, he's in Vegas training with Floyd Mayweather, as was expected, eventually. And Tank, that guy wants to stay on the right track. And don't even let Mayweather, his lifestyle, don't let Mayweather's lifestyle get you off course. Even though I don't think Mayweather. Anyway, point is, you take the training from Mayweather. We now have a promoter. That's fucking crazy. A promoter who's training people. You can't get better than that. You can't get more fucking hands-on than that. Right? The promoter, I saw the promoter, Floyd Mayweather, and his cousin training fucking Angelo Leo before his fight. Whoever seen that shit? Angelo Leo working like a beast. Went up, he won a world championship. Say what you like about Mayweather. Say what you like about him. With his premier fighters, he don't fucking play. He don't fucking play. Angelo Leo is yet another Mayweather Promotions champion. Right? Say what you like about him. He invested in his premier fighters. He don't got much of a stable, actually. Mayweather Promotions don't have a big stable. But when you got the top guy in Mayweather Promotions, the man himself, Floyd Mayweather, coming in to give you tips, coming in watching you train, you know, ready to give you assistance in any possible way, you got to be tripping. Shit. Bob Arum don't do that shit, but he's not. He was never a boxer, right? So I mean, it is what it is. But I think of trainers who were boxers. You know, Mike Stafford. You know, Mike Stafford is an unsung hero. A lot of people know who Mike Stafford is. This man has brought up a lot of boxers under his wings, carried them to the Olympics. And Mike Stafford is responsible for training Adrian Broner, Robert Easter Jr., Rashid Warren. Look at how many people coming up under this man. Nobody talks about Mike Stafford as he might like it, but Mike Stafford made Adrian Broner. Okay, Aaron Pryor had something to do with that too. But my point is Mike Stafford, who was a fighter, training fighters. There's something special about a fighter training other fighters. There's something special about him. Calvin Ford. Come on now. Took these kids off the streets. Took these kids and trained them in boxing. Man, we'll never hear about this guy, but he'd been making champions. Not just one, but not just two, not just three. He gonna make 5, 6 champions when all is said and done. Tank is just one of them. Y'all gonna start hearing about Truck a lot. Truck's another one. And Truck, he got his head on straight. And let me just make it abundantly clear. Tank is a level-headed guy. He's very, very smart. And he represents Baltimore. And he knows it. It's just Tank, and Tank's a really nice guy from what I heard. But it's just that Tank gotta get that weight in order. You know, that was it. He liked to eat. Tank likes to eat. I mean, how many boxers don't like to eat? A lot of boxers love to eat, okay? But Tank particularly likes to eat. That's it. You listen to Tank. Tank's a very, very intelligent man with a very intelligent. Adrian Broner, for those of you who don't know, very intelligent guy. Very intelligent guy. Got good shoulders on him. Okay. A lot of y'all again forgot what Adrian Broner has done and the opposition. I'm talking about Adrian Broner has faced tougher opposition than a good portion of the elite or the top 10 welterweights. Adrian Broner faced Sean Porter. Has Amir Khan faced Sean Porter? We're only talking about welterweight right now. I'm not talking about his experience at super lightweight or lightweight. Amir Khan ain't faced Sean Porter. Adrian Broner's faced Manny Pacquiao. Amir Khan hasn't faced Manny Pacquiao. Adrian Broner faced Adrian Granados, I believe it is, before Sean Porter faced Adrian Granados. That's a tough fight. Adrian Broner faced Marcos Maidana. Okay, Amir Khan faced Marcos Maidana. Marcos Maidana wrecked him. But Adrian Broner faced Marcos Maidana. And he ain't got a problem facing Marcos Maidana again in a rematch to bring closure. Adrian Broner has faced Antonio DeMarco. This is the same guy that knocked out Jorge Linares to win the title. Yeah, the same Jorge Linares everybody talking about today. It's Antonio DeMarco that knocked his ass out. Adrian Broner came and beat Antonio DeMarco. People forget these things. They forget who Adrian Broner is. You know? Juan Guzman was beaten by Alec Verdiev. it was a kind of, but nonetheless, Juan Guzman was beat by Alex Verdiev. Adrian Broner beat Alex Verdiev. He stopped him. He stopped him. People forget about this stuff. He's a 4-divisional world champion. Okay? He won super feather, I think it was lightweight. Super featherweight. I don't think he won. Oh yeah, he did. Super featherweight, lightweight, super lightweight, and welterweight. He beat Paulie Malignaggi, best number. But he beat Paulie Malignaggi for the welterweight type championship of the world. Adrian Broner. You know? And I just think that a lot of times, because I mean, to become a world champion to start with is very difficult in boxing. They say, oh, it's easy today to become a world champion. No, it's not. Not a real world champion. What I mean by that is any one of them 4 belts, where you're not like, I'm not talking about like Devin Haney status or Jamal Charlo status. All right, I don't think they are. I know the WBC said they're world champions, but I don't think of them as world champions. I think of them as interim world champions. They validated when they beat the dude or the dude vacates. They validated. But other than that, no. I don't see them as world champions at this point in time. But I still see them as damn good fighters. You know what I'm saying? And to become a world champion is not easy. It's not easy to become a world champion, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's not just, it takes so much work to become a world champion, especially today. You know? You got to really be dedicated to the sport. We're talking no drinking of alcohol, no smoking of cigarettes, a specific for elite fighters. Okay? That wasn't so not too long ago. 10, 12 years ago, it wasn't so. And guys would depend on performance enhancing drugs to get them through. But you could see them in the later rounds, they tiring out and stuff. To become a world champion today is harder than it was, because you have to be dedicated to the sport and you got to keep your body clean. And then the training is different. It's the same and yet it's different. A lot of things you got to do now that are now regiment. Once upon a time, it was about creativity and stuff. Now it's regimented to get the strongest stance possible. You know, there are routines and drills for everything. It's come down to science now. It's not just going in the ring, banging it out, sparring, and doing the usual things, the bag work and all of that, and running in your boots and all of that stuff, like throwback fighters. It's a little bit more than that now. Tank is blessed in that he's got a promoter who's willing to train him in Vegas. He's got his own trainer back in Baltimore, who also, I hope, is a part of this whole process. And so I can add in his little jams and stuff. But the bulk of Tank's training is still, because the thing about what people don't know in boxing is different boxers go to different gyms to get different, sometimes, sometimes the gyms are just open for them to train on their own. So Coach Calvin's not always going to be with Tank all the time, and Tank goes to different gyms. And I saw Tank in same gym with the trainer of Derevchenko. So Tank go to different gyms. Like you see Devin Haney going to different gyms, working with different people. But the core person who Devin Haney works with, we now learn, or part and parcel, is actually Mickey Bey. I'm saying. But everything's been with several different trainers. Similarly, Floyd will pass on some information, and Tank will go back to Calvin Ford and work with it. It's a circuit kind of like. A lot of people don't know that about boxing. Like boxing, it's all about experience, gathering experience from as many different people as possible. I know Jesse Vargas did the same thing, go to different trainers and work under them. He's gathering all this knowledge and information for if Jesse Vargas want to go on to train other people later on. He's very articulate about boxing. He's got great knowledge base. Keith Thurman's the same kind of guy. He's very articulate about boxing, good knowledge base. So we'll see what he can do. Keith Thurman with Ben Getty. Keith Thurman got that big fight with Pacquiao. And that's all you ask for, the big fights. You want to win them, but you just want the big fights with the big paydays. And a lot of people just don't understand that. Like Charlie Burley said they didn't want to give me the heavy. They didn't want to allow me a chance to get the championship. But Charlie Burley, if he had gotten the championship, he'd have got better pay. See, he was at a certain level in terms of pay. And Aaron Pryor was the same thing. He just wanted to get in with the guys who have made it to the Olympics, get paid like them. You understand? That's what that was. It's prize fighting, so you can't be mad at the prize fighters. Like Lomachenko. Some of y'all are mad at Teofimo Lopez for saying that's too small of money. Well, it's supposed to be a big fight. It's supposed to be a big fight. So if it's a big fight, why am I getting paid as if it's not a big fight? It's a big fight. This is not just anybody. This is Lomachenko. So I should be paid accordingly, And Lomachenko should be saying the same thing. It's not just anybody. It's Teofimo Lopez. And so all things being equal, you can't be telling Teofimo Lopez take it or leave it. ESPN, you being like, you gotta revise that, ESPN. You gotta revise that. And y'all gonna have to sit down and negotiate because 1.2 million don't cut it. Not for that fight, man. And you will hear the fans even voicing that, be saying, "Come on, man, ESPN, don't lowball Teofimo Lopez. This is unification. Jamel Charlo versus who was it? It was a unification fight. What unification fight am I talking about? Somebody fought a unification fight. Was it Jamel? Somebody. I don't remember. I can't remember. But it was a unification fight. I think it was one of the Charlo brothers. Unification. I can't remember if it was unification or not. But in a unification fight, you get paid. Everybody knows this. You get paid more than just a normal defense. It's a bigger fight. It's a bigger fight. You should get a bigger payday. A lot of people say, well, Teofimo never got that kind of money before. Listen, man. Listen. That's not the point. It's the value that Teofimo Lopez brings to this fight. Okay? He brings a certain value. You got to know your value. And I'm glad Teofimo Lopez said, no, that's too low. Okay? And he don't care what Lomachenko say. It's too low. 1.2 million is too low for a unification. All right? Yeah, he only got one belt. He hasn't defended. But everybody knows Teofimo Lopez is a draw. Everybody knows Teofimo Lopez is the next star. So why are you holding out on your future star? Why are you doing that? And you're favoring the guy that's going to be expired soon. He's going to leave the game. Why? That's stupid. For both ESPN and for Top Rank. Y'all thinking ass backwards. So don't tell the future star, oh, you're going to have to accept, take it or leave it. Well, fuck you. I could do other things with my life. And I can face other opponents. Fuck you. Give him a finger. Why? Because he's not willing to take your low ball offer. And he's not going to buy that. If that's your way of getting Lomachenko off the hook, well, good luck with that. He can only hold out for so long. He might have to retire from boxing. I know Lomachenko want to get that paycheck. Because that's probably the highest Lomachenko ever got paid in his fucking career. But nobody's talking about that one. I don't hate Lomachenko. It's just the bullshit that happens in boxing. The bullshit. We know what side ESPN is on. You know, we know what's up. And that's what I don't like people who be moving like that. Right? I don't like how ESPN is moving. You don't want this young buck to knock this top tier boxer the fuck out. That's what's happening. That's all. That's all to it. You don't want him getting put to sleep. We got it. So you want to favor your fighter, and you're showing that you favor your fighter, and he deserves to be favored. But my question is, you can't be favoring a guy so much that you want to sink another guy. Like you don't care about the other guy. You can't be doing that. You can't be kissing up on somebody's butt, and you don't want to deal with the other guy. And that's clearly what ESPN is saying and Top Rank. They're saying, you know what, Teofimo Lopez, you're gonna take the fight because you just really want Lomachenko. So you're gonna take it. And then after you beat him, you can call the shots. Fuck that. You're not gonna give me grass and tell me that that's an apple. Okay? It's a big fight. So pay me according to big fights. It's fair. I mean, he's being very reasonable. They lowballed him. For a fight like that, with the kind of promise that Teofimo Lopez brings to the table, having headlined his own event twice, you can't just come like that with chicken feet, man. Come on. ESPN, Top Rank. Don't do another lousy job with your fighters. And this is your fighter. That's what's so messed up about it. It's your fighter, Top Rank. And you still can't get it over the hill with him. You just seem to do a rotten job promoting your own fighters. How's that? You strapped for cash or something? I don't understand. So they got to sort that out with Teofimo Lopez. I believe the fight's going to go through. Maybe this year, maybe next year. It's going to happen. But they're going to have to cough up that money. Teofimo been training and all that. So they still want it on October the 3rd. I'm correct with the money, man. I'm correct with the dollar bills. That's all I'm saying. Probably wonder why I'm rocking back and forth. I'm sleepy. I just ate. So yeah, Roy Jones Jr. brought a lot to the sport of boxing, man. A lot. It's flashy, skilled. It was the best for a good period of time. And so, no matter what anybody says, Roy Jones Jr. was special, as was Pernell Whitaker. And we saw something that we will never see again, ever. We need to cherish and value that. Tank, he's the next. I call them the new breed, the new generation of fighters. And several of them have the capacity to really blow it up and become the best in the world. Several of these young fighters. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to who is the most entertaining. Teofimo Lopez, he got little things that he do that might make him more entertaining than the rest. So we'll see how that turns out. Well, I'm what you need. You've been watching my channel. It's almost an hour now into it. I'm rocking back and forth, as you can see. I wish you guys the best. I just wanted to talk about that. I'm going to put up a couple other videos, as well as I'm going to put up some community stuff for you guys to check out. Can't really stream with you guys, otherwise I'll be streaming with you guys and you guys can roll in and roll out as guests. I got some other topics to talk about in boxing, and we'll get there. Until then, I'm what you need. I hope you guys enjoy this channel. If you want to donate to this channel, don't forget you can donate via Western Union. You can get the details from me. Other than that, you guys have a great one.